Okay, I'm gonna save this one. Well, this is way too long. 55 minutes. No. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, right. All right, so this is from the Prom G. I think I did a video of him way back when. I don't remember when, but I remember seeing his face before. So it says my top 5 most exciting manga releases of 2025. Now, some of them may be something you heard already. Some of them you probably heard in a previous video from another YouTuber, or probably they might bring up something that is so far off the spectrum you might enjoy it. Just like that made skates thing. I never even saw that before till today. So let's go.
Officially in full swing, and if you're anything like me, you're already looking at your calendar, marking down the days where you can add some amazing new releases to your manga collection. You know, in 2024, some of my other hobbies kind of took precedent, whether it be video game collecting or Blu-ray collecting, but this year I'm fully locked back into manga, and I have
People still use Blu-ray to this day still?
a list of the stuff I'm most excited to pick up for you guys in today's video. Now, before we get into my top 5 list, I want to give a quick disclaimer that I actually have not read any of these series yet, so this isn't necessarily a recommendation video, but I will be giving some plot synopsis, and I will be giving some reasons as to why I'm personally excited for these releases, so take this list with a grain of salt if you're looking for recommendations. Don't come crying to me if one of these is a massive stinker, because I haven't read them yet. But go down to the comment section below and leave me a comment telling me your most anticipated manga, or even your top 5 or 10 anticipated manga for 2025. I guarantee there will be some on your list that are not on mine, but I'll save the surprises for later. But with all that being said, I just want to say thank you for joining me today on the channel for today's video. If you enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more manga videos just like this. But without any further ado, let's get into my top anticipated manga releases of 2025. Now, my entire top 5 list is comprised of series that are getting their very first English volume in print in 2025. But real quick before that, I want to give kind of an honorable mention to 2 ongoing series that are finally getting new volumes after so long. The first one obviously being Berserk, which is getting its 42nd volume this year. I don't remember the exact release date. I'll put it somewhere on screen for both these volumes. But yeah, Berserk, obviously, it's been forever since we got the 41st volume, several years, obviously with the tragic passing of Kentaro Miura. The future of the series was kind of up in the air, but I think as far as it goes now, we are going to be getting more volumes as some other people continue on the series that know his vision. So I'm super excited for this. The cover looks amazing. The second super excited volume that's coming out this year is Vinland Saga hardcover number 14. I can't even remember when 13 came out. I believe it was also years ago, and it's been just so long since I picked up a new volume or even read this series. But moving on to the actual top 5 list, coming in at the number 5 spot, we have a brand new manga from a sci-fi legend, Tsutomu Nihei, that is going to be Tower Dungeon. Now, the interesting thing about this new manga is, like I said, Tsutomu Nihei is a sci-fi legend, as most of his series, especially his critically acclaimed ones like Blam, Knights of Sidonia, Manga, the list goes on, are sci-fi manga. But Tower Dungeon is a step in a new direction, as this is going to be a fantasy manga that's actually serializing in a shonen magazine since 2023. From my knowledge, the series is basically about this evil sorcerer who kills the king of this land and kidnaps the princess and takes her into this big monolith, this tower, if you will. They send this rescue squad into the tower to try and save the princess. But like I said, this is a fantasy series, so of course there are going to be some insane looking fantasy mythical beasts and monsters that are roaming around this tower that this rescue squad has to traverse. So if you know me, you'll know why this series is so anticipated for me. I love Tsutomu Nihei, the series that I've read from him, and of course getting a new manga from him.
I think the word he was looking for is traverse, but okay.
Is super exciting. And like I just said, this manga is going to be of the fantasy genre, which is unlike anything I've read from Tsutomu Nihei to date. So that's another reason why I'm super excited for this one. Now, coming in at the number 4 spot is going to be a little bit of a controversial one, but you guys should also fully understand why I'm excited for it. That is going to be Volume 1 of Mujina Into the Deep, the newest manga by Inyo Asano. Similar to the manga at the number 5 spot, we have a brand new series from an absolute legend. Obviously, Inyo Sano, the mangaka behind works like Goodnight Pun Pun, Dead Dead Demons, my absolute favorite, some other series. And now that I think about it, this is actually similar to the number 5 spot in multiple ways, as Inyo Sano is taking this series in a new direction with his first ever action manga. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, I have not read any of these series, but I have seen some of the manga art for this one based on the first couple chapters. And man, I gotta tell you, for a guy who doesn't typically draw a lot of action in his manga, the choreography and the flow of these fight scenes looks amazing. I mean, there's some panels I'll put up on screen of like sword strikes that look super fluid and cinematic. So just taking these panels at face value, it looks like for the most part this series is going to be a greatly drawn action manga, but I want to say that I am a little bit cautious with this one because I've seen some people online say that they're just having a hard time getting into it, or that this is even one of his worst manga he's ever made. In particular, I watched a video from Uchu Shelf who said this was actually his second worst manga read of 2024, so that doesn't exactly inspire a lot of confidence in me. But maybe it's just my childlike mind that seems to have a larger capacity for being entertained by stupid shit like Gigant. A lot of people don't like, but absolutely love. So I'm not writing this one off just yet, but just the fact that we're getting a new manga from Asano is reason enough to put this at the number 4 spot of my most anticipated 2025 manga. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have a manga that was the basis for one of the most popular and celebrated manga-based movies of all time. We have the first omnibus of Ichi the Killer coming out in 2025. Now this is going to be a super hot take, but I'm actually not the biggest fan of the Ichi the Killer movie. It was a little bit abstract for my taste, though there is a lot that I really liked about it, especially the grotesque gore and some of the hilarious action. But Ichi the Killer basically follows 2 main characters. We have obviously Ichi, who is this cowardly guy who kind of dresses up like a Kamen Rider without the helmet, and he is, like I said, a huge wimp. But when he starts crying, like he gets emotional, he becomes a badass martial arts killing machine. He has like this blade in his shoe that he just butchers people with. And then the other character, I believe his name is Kakihara or something like that. He is this Yakuza enforcer who is badly scarred, probably the character you're more familiar with seeing if you haven't read or watched the movie. And similar to Ichi, he is just a brutal killer, also a sadist who inflicts a lot of pain on himself as he does with others. And when his boss gets brutally murdered by this Ichi character, their paths intertwine and these 2 unlikely characters become very involved with each other. It's a very interesting story to say the least, at least what I've seen based off of the movie, but that's why I'm really excited to get into this manga, because like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of the movie, but I want to see if the source material is perhaps even better and it'll really resonate with me more. Now coming in at the number 2 spot is a manga that I believe already released, but I think it came out in 2025, so I'm putting it on the list regardless because I'm so excited to finally pick this one up. That is going to be Ultra Heaven from Last Gasp. This manga takes place in this sort of futuristic dystopian society where drugs have taken over everybody because they are legalized with the exception of a few illegal drugs, but everybody is dependent on drugs as they can make you feel basically any emotion out there. And the manga follows a main character who has taken every drug that is out there and has subsequently become bored of taking these drugs until he catches wind of this drug similar to our real world DMT that can take your mind to like a higher plane of existence and understanding. Now I have not read this manga, but I have seen a lot of the artwork, and as you can probably guess, for a manga that's basically about getting high, tripping on drugs, and going to an entire higher plane of existence, the manga artwork is absolutely stunning and so trippy. From the people who actually have read this manga that I've heard from, they say it's almost like having a psychedelic experience while being completely sober. I mean, I can't even imagine what looking at some of this psychedelic trippy artwork would be like when you're actually tripping on psychedelics, and I don't think I want to know what that experience is like either. But yeah, like I said, this manga is coming from the publisher Last Gasp. I'm most familiar with them from their Barefoot Gen hardcovers, and they've also done some other stuff from this manga, such as I believe there's one called Heaven's Door that's also heavily psychedelic. So I've heard so much about this one that's honestly kind of surprising I haven't picked it up as of making this video since it's already out. but I'm putting it on the list regardless. This is one I've looked forward to reading for so long, and the time is finally here. And finally, coming in at the #1 spot, my most anticipated manga I'm going to pick up in 2025. For a lot of you guys, it's going to be a pretty obvious and relatable one. For others, you're going to be very surprised and disappointed. It's not JoJo's Steel Ball Run, but the manga at my #1 spot is, of course, Shinichi Sakamoto's The Climber. Shinichi Sakamoto is one of those mangaka that has been proclaimed as one of the goats.
Oh yeah, I remember we did a video on that one.
They've been making manga, really, with their series like Innocent and, of course, The Climber, among others, but has only recently gotten their series put out physically in English print. And The Climber is a series that has been at the top of every manga fan's like holy grail series that they want to come out physically in English, and we're finally getting this series from Viz in their Viz signature editions. Now, if you couldn't put 2 and 2 together and guess based off the title, this manga is about climbing. It's about this main character who starts off, I believe, like high school club, learning to solo climb, and eventually becomes like a world-class mountain climber. And of course, climbing is a metaphor for, you know, his uphill battle struggles with things like loneliness and depression. So we have this psychological manga from one of the greatest of all time that's also a sports manga. Okay, I'm interested. What else could possibly get me hooked on reading this series? Have you guys seen the artwork? It would not be an understatement to say that this is probably one of the most beautifully drawn manga of all time. Of course, I'll put up some panels on the screen for you to look at. Some of these are even more infamous than the manga itself. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen them, even if you have not read The Climber. So yeah, if for some reason The Climber was not on your radar of releases for this year or manga to read in general, it better be now, because if your taste is anything like mine, this has everything you could possibly want in an amazing manga series. So yeah, The Climber takes the #1 spot. Sorry, JoJo's, I haven't read the rest of that series, so the spot goes to The Climber. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for my top 5 list of my most anticipated manga to pick up in 2025. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Of course, make sure to go down in the comments below, leave me a comment telling me your top 5 anticipated list or your top 1 that you're excited to pick up in 2025. Again, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more manga videos just like this. So yeah, this has been the Prom G. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and as always, hope to catch you in the next one.
Okay, so that was the Prime G on the whole 5 most exciting manga releases 2025. That's his recommendations. If you guys enjoy this, give him a follow and all that great stuff. Link in the description and all that great stuff. And we'll go into our last one.